Hello. I'm hoping this is really live because my internet wouldn't let me get on for like 5 minutes. So, hello. I'm hoping this will be working. If anyone, cool, we have a viewer. Woo. All right, we're officially live. Good morning. How is everyone? I'll just take a deep breath because I still get triggered when I'm running late to things. Oh, hey, Susan. Thank you, honey, for letting me know. If you were here with me yesterday, do you like what I did with my wine cabinet today? Good old strategic placing of the cushion. All right, so good morning. It's Charmaine from Eco Mama. I am a naturopath, and this is all part of the Protect mini-series that I'm doing on immunity. Hey, Carol. So I wanted to first preface this discussion with, yes, I am a qualified naturopath. So this information that I'm about to present to you is from formal training. I'm not just making it up. I haven't just Googled it to get the information. So I'm a qualified naturopath and nutritionist. I practice at In Touch Health Co in Manannan. And also online at the moment via telehealth, which is really cool. And hey, Leash. And I wanted to also let you know that this information that I'm going to give to you in today's topic is very general. I'm going to keep it very general. It is not for specific conditions. So if you are watching this and you're currently working through some sort of illness, or let's just say you've been recently diagnosed with COVID, this information is general only. It's not going to be specifically for you treating your specific concerns. So I wanted to keep it quite general and broad because I've got a lot of families as part of my community. So it's important that I'm giving information that everyone can adapt and take into their life, but I need you to please keep an open mind. Don't rush out and buy everything I tell you to buy. I want you to consult your healthcare practitioner. Hopefully I'm your healthcare practitioner and you can consult me, reach out to me, PM me if you have any questions or whether you're not sure as to whether the advice that I'm going to be talking about today is relevant for you. So yesterday we talked all about food, which is wonderful. I can talk about food. I don't need to be really specific about any warnings or contraindications for the food that I'm talking about. But supplements and herbal medicine's a little bit different because it's generally something that's quite individual. But I'm keeping it quite generalized today. So I wanted to talk about supplements and herbal medicine because I bumped into a friend last night and she was talking about her concerns about COVID, and she's like, I was going to message you because I thought maybe you must be feeling the same way because we both have a really similar anxiety story. And I'm like, I have moments where I stress out. Like have moments where I go into the downward spiral and I'm freaking out and going, oh my God, it's all doom and gloom. But I'm not there for long because I have a real passion and a really beautiful relationship with the work that I do. So with the food, with the herbal medicine, with the supplements, I really trust in the work that I do, that if this was to hit my home, that I would feel quite comfortable navigating my way through it. So I want to be able to share that with you today in a hope that if you are feeling doom and gloomy about and disempowered about what you can do with your health at the moment, that maybe you can get some takeaways here and feel the same way, that you've got some sort of tools and tips that you can use in your home to feel like you're going to get through this. Because the media does not tell us about all the people that are getting through this, unfortunately. Like the amount of diagnoses that we've got at the moment for COVID, they're large, don't get me wrong. But the mortality rate is actually quite small. And I don't mean to downplay this, but I just wanted to put a different spin on this, that I'm not talking doom and gloom because I'm focusing so much on all of the people that are recovering and being diagnosed and popping out a few weeks later going, yeah, wow, that was pretty crap, but I'm still pretty good. So my hope is to be able to give you some tools today to hopefully prevent contraction of virus and illness, or at least if we do be invaded by some sort of infection, that we're able to fight that off a little bit better. If you're needing treatment advice to actually work through a formal diagnosis, or you currently are infected with some sort of virus, please let's have a different conversation, which I'm doing online at the moment. So let me jump into quality. So quality of supplements and herbal medicine, a big topic and a very common conversation that I'm having in my clinic. And I want to talk about quality because when I go to the supermarket, I see all the vitamin C's gone, all of the gummies are gone, all of the stuff's gone. And I really love that people are trying to be proactive with their health. I think that's a great step. But I want to say one thing about quality of supplements over the counter that you can buy from your generally from supermarkets and chemists and things like that. They are probably well intended, I have no doubt, but they are supplements that are for everyone. So if you're going to be handing out supplements to everyone, you can't be handing them out really high doses of vitamin C and really high doses of zinc and really high doses of garlic that are going to really really bring up their immune system, because that would be irresponsible, because not everyone needs that kind of treatment. So over-the-counter supplements are generally quite mild. So when we're looking at really supporting your body and supporting your immune system and supporting all the other things you want to work on, over-the-counter supplements might not have enough ingredients in them to be able to really be super effective. It might be enough to kickstart your body to remind itself on what it needs to do. Hey mom, but it just might not be enough to actually give you what you're looking for. Like if you're going and buying that stuff, you want to take vitamin C so that you don't get COVID. I know at the end of the day, under all of that stuff, that's why you want that. It's probably not going to be enough to work as effectively as what you want it to be. Also, the stuff that we've got over the counter, you might pay. I used to buy the Blackmore's magnesium, and I loved it. I still use it sometimes actually if I've run out and I can't get my Pracky products. I think it was like $17 or $18 or something like that. Whereas my practitioner magnesium is like $40, $50. The reason being is the dose of actual effective ingredient is quite small, and it has to be quite small because it's for everyone. So we don't want it to be really therapeutic dose. So the actual effective ingredient is quite small. So basically you'll be getting, over-the-counter magnesium, you'll be getting this much magnesium, and the rest is just a filler. It could just be Susan, I can't think off the top of my head what fillers they use in supplements. Please put something on there if you can think of a filler. But generally I think they're using like lactose powder and glucose powders and things like that. Hey honey, thanks for jumping on from downstairs. Whilst keeping the kids entertained. I wonder if anyone else is doing this at the, well, I'm sure you all are. Carol, Leash, home with the kids. So that's a word on quality. So over-the-counter supplements, great intentions, I'm sure. And I think the intention of going out and buying something to support your body sets a really beautiful message to your brain about that you want to be looking after yourself. But I just want you to be mindful that it may not be the best bang for your buck that you can get. Majority of the stuff that we're buying from over the counter also, unfortunately, is produced in a lab. So, I would much prefer to be taking a vitamin C powder that comes from food and has been manufactured from a bucket ton of oranges, as opposed to a vitamin C powder that's been artificially produced, because that doesn't make sense to my brain that we would be trying to support our health with something that's been artificially produced. It kind of defeats the purpose for me. So I'm going to move on to some of the supplements that we're using in our home. So I kind of mix these up a little bit, and I will try and get food sources where possible, and then I'll supplement to top it up if I need to as well. So there's a massive list of things that I could rattle off, but I'm going to keep it to my probably top 3 ones that out of everything I will do daily at the moment, and I try and get my kids to do daily at the moment. So we've got vitamin D, vitamin C, and magnesium. So vitamin D, I spoke a little bit about vitamin D yesterday. So mushrooms, really great food source for vitamin D. Grass-fed animal protein and grass-fed eggs, high in vitamin D. So the animal needs to be out in the sun, eating the dirt and the grass that's grown from the sun for that product to have some vitamin D in it. If that animal's lived in a shelter and has been eating grain that's been mass produced in a lab, it's not going to have a lot of vitamin D in it. So please go to your food sources where possible, using free range, actual products that have seen the sun and have eaten the dirt and all of those beautiful things. So that's vitamin D. Vitamin D from the sun. It's a little bit gloomy today, but we're still able to get vitamin D from the sun. So when you're going outdoors into the sun, you want to be having at least 15 minutes either side of noon. So 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and you want arms and legs exposed. I'm not going to show you my legs right now. So you want to have exposure where possible without sunscreen to be able to absorb some vitamin D into your body. So we've got the food sources of vitamin D, and then we've got the sun sources of vitamin D. And then on top of that, we want to supplement, if we want to supplement as well, I would generally use a liquid vitamin D. I can spray it under the tongue. I use just the Bioceuticals one because we stock it at InTouch, so it's easy for me to get. So I use the liquid vitamin D, and also my kids, if they don't want to take it, I'll just put it into their breakfast or something and they don't know. So it's easy to get in. And that way I can have a few more sprays than what they're suggesting I'm going to have. So the normal recommended dose for vitamin D and those little tablets you get, what's that brand called? Is it Ostalin? I think it's Ostalin. Mum, can you remind me of the brand that you take? And so the ones that you can buy at the chemist, generally they're 500 IU to 1000 IU per a tablet. It's just not going to cut it if we want to be supporting immune health. So I'm generally saying around the 4,000 to 5,000 mark. If you're deficient in vitamin D, we can be going up to like 10,000 of vitamin D. So you don't want to really be taking like 10 to 20 tablets. But if you're deficient in vitamin D and you do need to supplement in it, that's why I like a liquid, because you can quite easily spray however many sprays your practitioner tells you to have under your tongue. So that's vitamin D. Let me just have a sip of my tea. All right, now vitamin C. Dun, dun, dun. So I had a really interesting journey with vitamin C. So as many of you may know, me and anxiety, we're really good friends. We hang out quite a lot. And a lot of things that, anxiety can really deplete your adrenal health. So the prescription for adrenal support is vitamin C. So I go rushing out to get my vitamin C powder. No matter what vitamin C powder I try, it spikes my anxiety. So I've had to really play around with vitamin C and get to know it quite well. So I'm not super passionate about prescribing vitamin C because I know that I'm running through my own story in the background. Every practitioner is helping you through your journey based on their journey themselves. So just we're in this ride with you. But vitamin C, I don't personally love it for myself. I don't find myself prescribing it a lot as a supplement because I can't find many that aren't produced artificially. So when I'm talking about vitamin C, I know it's super helpful. It is absolutely important for immune health. And if you were to contract COVID, you want to get yourself down to Cabot in Camden and get your IV vitamin C infusions. Vitamin C is really helpful for reducing the risk of cellular damage from COVID. So that means reducing damage that COVID can do to your lungs and to your heart that isn't reversible. So vitamin C, super important. But I'd love you to be getting your vitamin C where possible from food sources. So I spoke about vitamin C a little bit yesterday in food sources that I use. So I've got lemon like on everything. Like we had snags last night and I put a whole lemon on top of my sausages. Tastes really good, by the way. And grapefruit in the morning. We have, oranges a few times a day. There's also anything sort of red and colourful generally has got some sort of vitamin C in there. I've just recently bought some kakadu plum powder, so I put that on my Instagram today, so you can read a little bit more about kakadu plum powder. It's one of the highest sources of vitamin C in food, and the cool thing is that it's grown in Australia. It's a traditional plum. It's about this big. It's sour and it's a tiny little bit sweet, so I love sour food, so I really love kakadu plum. Camu powder is another good one to get food source of vitamin C. That's really high dose vitamin C. You can get both of these online quite easily. I think a lot of people do buy them from Changing Habits. I think she's just run out of stock, but you can Google it and you'll find a few different options, and a lot of health food stores do stock it as well. So if you were to combine your food sources of vitamin C and then also your kakadu plum and your camu powder, then generally you're only going to be supplementing a small amount of vitamin C at the end of that. So vitamin C, again, to buy over the counter is another one of those products that are very artificially produced, unfortunately. So I'd highly recommend getting a good quality practitioner product with vitamin C. And vitamin C, people always ask me how much they can take. So we have this thing called upper tolerable limit. So everyone's got their own level of vitamin C that they can tolerate. So you could take maybe 1,000 IU of micrograms of vitamin C. Someone else might need to take 5,000 micrograms of vitamin C. The way you know when you've reached your upper tolerable limit is you'll have a bowel movement. It'd be a very loose bowel movement. So you play around with your upper tolerable limit. So vitamin C likes to be taken in smaller doses more frequently. So you might be taking, 500 micrograms, every few hours, and seeing when you get to that point where you go, oh, I think I need to go, that's your upper tolerable limit. That is pretty much, I'd probably just say you can get up to say 5,000. I'd probably say your upper tolerable limit is around the 4,000 mark, and you'd stick with that with vitamin C supplementation if you choose to go down that path. If not, and you want to get it from food sources, all of your citrus, plants, kakadu plum, and camu. Magnesium, hands down, one of my favorite supplements. I talk about it a lot. I give it to everyone. I burn through magnesium like no tomorrow. For anyone that's out there that really loves anxiety and stress and depression, you will most probably be burning through magnesium as well. So I will try and grab my magnesium from a magnesium oil, so I can just put it topically on my skin. City Cave, which is closed at the moment, which I'm really bummed about because I love that place. City Cave does float baths, which are really high in magnesium. You can feel the difference in your body if you're floating in a tank of magnesium. It's delicious, but it is closed at the moment, unfortunately. So I am supplementing with magnesium at the moment because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit stressed out. I'm homeschooling, I'm working from home, I'm trying to figure out what this is all about. And I can feel that tension in my body. I can feel that anxiety rising. So I'm being cautious that I want to be taking additional magnesium at the moment. So most supplements you can buy with magnesium over the counter, you're looking at maybe like 50 to 100 milligrams of magnesium per tablet. Again, it can be, a lot of the over-counter stuff is a cheaper version of magnesium that's been man-made in a lab, and generally all it would do if you take high doses of it is upset your tummy and give you diarrhea. So then generally those cheaper versions of magnesium is what we use in clinic as a laxative. So if we've got people come in that need a laxative, we'll just give them a cheaper form of magnesium. Go to your supermarket, buy some mag, take lots of mag. So that's kind of not what we want to be doing with magnesium. I would get a good quality magnesium. I personally love the I've got two. I use the Fusion Organic Advanced Magnesium Tablet, and I use the Bioceuticals Ultra Muscles Night at night because it's got sour cherry in there and it's beautiful for sleep. So those two products you can buy over the counter. We stock the Muscles at InTouch, and the Fusion tablets, I normally just grab them online, or you can grab them from most health food stores will stock Fusion as well. With magnesium, especially if you're prone to stress and anxiety, they'll probably say like take 1 or 2 tablets a day. So you might be getting the equivalent to 100 to 200 milligrams of magnesium. You could actually take up to between 6 to 800 if your head's about to pop off because you're so stressed. 600 to 800 is generally what I'm prescribing. Again, I say that from consult your practitioner. Don't just go out and start taking a bucket ton of magnesium, although it's probably not going to be that hurtful for you. But yeah, you can take that higher dose of magnesium if you're really needing some additional support. So I'm feeling super jittery today. I'm not really sure why. I was feeling pretty good, but just in the past half an hour, I have just become a little bit jittery. So I'm going to probably take some additional magnesium than what I normally would today. Magnesium is super important for stress, and we don't want to be stressed and trying to have a really healthy immune system. It's counterproductive. If our body's super busy dealing with all of the stress that we're putting on it, it's not going to be able to focus on building a beautiful, robust immune system. Time for some yin yoga. Yeah, thank you, Sharon. Totally needed that reminder. Laura, don't let me forget, and Josh, don't let me forget to do some yin today. Thank you. If anyone can suggest some online yin yoga sessions, please tag me. That would be super awesome. So magnesium, beautiful for stress, but it's also in our body's made up of cells. Oh, wow, how do I do that? Cell. There's a cell. Our body's made up of round cells. It's just a gazillion different little cells. And inside the cell and outside the cell is this beautiful balance of different minerals. And magnesium is one of them. So magnesium is active within every single part of your cell. So we need magnesium for every single part of our stress adaptation, for our energy production, for our nervous system, so for our immune system. So it's important for every single cellular action. So super important mineral to be supplementing with at the moment. Now, probiotics. I get asked this question a lot, and I still err on the side of caution when it comes to probiotics. And I know this is a controversial topic, and I get pulled up on this quite a lot, but I want to talk about probiotics. Now, personally, I don't use probiotics for everyday health. I've got my own sort of gut journey going on. Probiotics are not my friend at the moment. I'll use Saccharomyces boulardii. It's not a probiotic. It's a little bit different. Probiotics can be helpful, but I'm generally only using them if it's for a specific health condition. I'm not using a probiotic for everyday general health. And the reason being is we have this really beautiful, diverse colony in our gut, in our mouth, in our nose, in our ears, everywhere. And we're looking at approximately 6,000 species of probiotics that are just hanging out. Not 6,000 probiotics, but 6,000 different strains of bacteria, of yeast, of parasites, of good bacteria, bad bacteria. So that's a really diverse colony. So I just saw an Indian myna bird and I thought, that's a great example of what a probiotic is like. So I'm going to show you my backyard, if I can flip around. So there's my beautiful backyard, which I showed you yesterday, which I love. Now I have like a gazillion different types of birds here, and I love it. I love the sound of birds. But every now and then we get swarmed by Indian myna birds. Who introduced Indian myna birds to Australia? I don't know, but they're pesky, they're annoying. They come and they're really loud, and they're not a nice bird to look at, and they're very invasive. I feel that they're quite invasive. So they're not a native bird to Australia. I hope I'm right with that and not just making that up, but I'm pretty sure they're not a native bird to Australia. So they can be an eyesore and kind of drown out everyone else. So when the Indian myna birds come in, all the other birds just start to disappear because the Indian myna birds are a little bit intense. So that's Indian myna bird is how I see a probiotic. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Mongrel things, yes. Look, I love nature, don't get me wrong, but Indian myna birds are a tad annoying. So Indian myna bird is a probiotic. So when you've got this really diverse colony of 6,000 different species, and in comes a probiotic, which is generally quite, The average probiotic might be 4 or 6 strains. Probably most of the ones you buy over the counter might be 1 or 2 strains of probiotic. It's just going to drown out the diversity there and potentially throw out the balance. So we don't want to be walking around with really high doses of lacto-rhamnosus, or we don't want to be walking around with really over-the-top bifido. It wants to be a really beautiful balance. So I personally, that's the backstory as to why I don't generally recommend probiotics. So Susan, much better to get prebiotics. Yeah, and probiotics from food, absolutely. So that's what I want to talk about. Oh, my wine case is popping out again. So probiotics, if you are working through a health challenge, or you are wanting to prevent a certain condition, or it needs to be very specific for your journey. So I couldn't say go out and get this, this and this, because I just don't do that. Generally, I'm not prescribing probiotics unless I've done some sort of gut testing, unless there's some specific gut issue that I'm working on. And it's going to change. I'm not just going to stick to one probiotic all the time. It's going to be a different probiotic for different parts of your healing journey. So if you're wondering whether a probiotic is beneficial for you for general health and supporting your immune function, I would definitely say get it from food. So organic produce generally is really high in probiotics because our soil, an organic soil, is really rich with different diverse bacteria. So when we're eating organic food, we're naturally getting a probiotic. Also, the vegetable fibers, they're prebiotics. So prebiotics feed probiotics. So we want to be consuming prebiotics so that whatever is in our gut is going to thrive and love life. If we start eating food that's really heavily sprayed in antibiotics, we're going to eat the food and it's going to probably kill off some of the bacteria that's in our gut. Excuse me. Other sources of probiotics in food, you've got your fermented foods, so coconut yogurt. You want to be looking for live cultures on your yogurts. You want to see that there's a beautiful range of strains of different types of bacteria in that yogurt. Otherwise, the generalized ones like your Yoplait and the very commercialized ones, they've been fermented, but the cultures and the bacteria in those products are no longer active. So you want to be seeing live cultures in those yogurts to be able to get the benefits. Fermented foods like your sauerkrauts and your kimchis and your fermented ginger and your fermented garlic. Oh, yes, fermented garlic. I need to make some of that. And what else? Kombucha, kefir. If anyone can think of any else, please pop that down in the comments. That would be awesome. But they're the main ones that I'm talking about. So they're probiotics. So they're little bugs, right? They need to eat food. Thankfully, we eat all the time, which is great. But if we want those guys to be really strong and robust and thriving, we want to feed them the food that they love. So the negative bacteria, like your candidas, and I can't think of any others at the moment, love sugar. But your good, happy bacteria, they love generally plants. So give them a plant-based diet. They're going to thrive for you, and 100% promise you, you'll feel the difference. Like when we went veggie, 100% felt the difference. I felt it in my gut and I felt it in my brain, and it wasn't because we cut out meat. It was because we knew that we were feeding a really diverse population in our gut. So it was a really beautiful trial, which I do quite a lot. Susan, Babushka. Babushka is a great brand. What do they do, honey? Babushka. I'll see when you write that comment in there. I haven't heard of Babushka. Yeah, so we want to feed those probiotic foods. We want to feed them as well with resistant starch. Hey, Deb. So resistant starches, you cook, you cool, and then you eat. So cooking and cooling starches, turning them into resistant starches, has a beautiful effect on your blood sugars. Yogurt and kefir. Beautiful, thank you. So cooking and cooling starches before you eat them can be a benefit to your blood sugar. So if you've got blood sugar issues, diabetes issues, insulin resistance, PCOS, you want to be making your starches into resistant starches before you eat them. And also, a resistant starch is a beautiful food source for your probiotics that are living in your gut. So your sweet potato, your yam, your taro, your normal potato, your rice, your brown rice, you're cooking that and cooling that before consuming it. It turns it into a resistant starch, which is a prebiotic, which feeds your probiotics. A little bit complicated. I wasn't intending to go here, but we went here. I hope that made a little bit of sense. So that is probiotics. Please let me know if anyone has any questions or wants me to clarify anything on that topic, because it's a little bit to wrap your head around, because all we see in the media and in a lot of the health space is take your probiotic, and cool, probiotics can absolutely be helpful if they're the right ones for you. And that, I think, I could be biased in saying that, but I really think it can only come from a practitioner, because we've studied for a long time the different strains that are living in your gut and what they do, and it's a complicated space. Even me as a practitioner, still, like, every time I'm using a probiotic, I'm researching it, I'm studying it, I'm going back to the literature, I'm making sure that we're making the right decisions, we're starting really small dosing, being very careful and safe with what we're putting into our gut, because if we can't stuff that place up, it's so important. Gut health, I could talk about it forever. So important. Okay, multivitamins. Sharon, before I start, definitely agree that food as medicine is 100% ahead of probiotics. Yeah, totally, food as medicine. I love that. Multivitamins for me kind of sit in the similar camp as probiotics. So generally the multivitamins that you can take are quite low dose, because they're generally for everyone and for, to be taken for a long time. I don't use multivitamins. I don't recommend them to anyone really. I will use pregnancy multivitamins because, that's what we do. But generally I'll be looking at supplements that are specific for you, as opposed to just a general one. I want you to be getting your vitamins and your minerals from food, and if you're not able to get them from food, then we work on that first before we do a multivitamin, because it's just not going to be that effective. So that's multivitamins. Now I'm going to let's jump into herbs here. Herbs are delicious. No, actually they're not delicious, they taste like crap. Herbal extract. Please give me a love or a like if you've had a herbal extract. They can taste like rubbish. My kids hate when I try to give them herbs, but holy heck, they work. If my husband is still on here, he can agree, they work. Those things are like little pocket rockets if you get the right one. So herbal medicine is, I put a post on it this morning. It is absolutely an art. It is not, I want to reduce your risk of contracting COVID, so I'm going to give you echinacea. That's not how we work as herbalists. So we have, tastes like rust. Yeah, I know, right? Have you ever tried echinacea just straight? It is the weirdest thing. When I was studying, I told a client to gargle straight echinacea. Because look, it actually was very helpful for him, but I went back to my lecturer and she's like, you said what? Have you ever tried that stuff? It's horrid. And it makes your mouth really numb. It's bizarre. Anyway, herbal medicine tastes like crap, but absolutely powerful if you get the right blend for you. So I do use some herbal medicine in tablets. I would not buy herbal medicine from over the counter. Because unfortunately there's a lot of adulteration, there's a lot of poor quality, there's not a lot of rules about what can go into products when it comes to herbal medicine. So anything that I'm going to be taking from a brand that I know, that I trust, that I've worked with for a long time. So I use my Australian brands, so MediHerb and Herbal Extracts, and Bioceuticals have just done a herbal blend as well. So herbal medicine can be very helpful in this time. So modern medicine doesn't have a antiviral medicine. COVID is a virus, okay? Modern medicine doesn't have an antiviral solution. They've got antibacterial solutions. They're different. They're not going to kill a virus. So this is where herbal medicine can shine, because we have antiviral medicines. at our fingertips, many of them. So St. John's wort, for anyone that's ever used St. John's wort for things like anxiety and depression, it's an antiviral. Other herbs that we're using at the moment are astragalus, or astragalus. I like astragalus because it sounds a bit more Harry Pottery. Angiographis, echinacea, elderberry, lemon balm, withania, St. John's wort, turmeric, ginger. I think they're probably the main ones that I'm alternating at the moment, but I'm making up a blend depending on what is going on for you. So for me, if I know that my immunity is weakened because I love anxiety so much, then I'm going to work on supporting and bringing down my anxiety to be able to support and bring up my immunity. I'm not just going to smash my immunity and tell it to work better. Whereas for my husband, when I'm mixing up immunity herbs for him, he's got a really robust energy. So I'm going to just be targeting his immune system and making sure his circulation is working really well because he's quite tall. So we're making up different things for different people all the time. So herbal medicine has a huge role to play here, and I strongly encourage you to jump on if you want to dive deeper into that and get a blend just for you. My immune booster program is what I put together for that, so we can have a 20-minute conversation. It's $40 and we can make you up something that's going to be really helpful for you, not just you buying some herbs over the counter hoping they'll help but might not actually be beneficial. I hope that helps a little bit, but like, it's amazing what herbal medicine can do. What else did I want to say? I covered mushrooms yesterday. We do stock a mushroom capsule at In Touch as well, which is really beautiful. I'll take that if I run out of my mushroom powder. And we also stock the Armour Phos there as well, which is super helpful. Now, if you wanted to grab any of those supplements, you can just order them with me over the phone, or you can call and order them at In Touch. We just do a quick screening to make sure that they're suitable for you and your condition, and not a waste of money, because we don't want to give you stuff that's not going to be helpful. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. Let me just see if I've got any other comments in there. Oh, I don't know why Facebook does this. Doesn't show me all the comments and then I have to scroll up and find them. Anyway. All right, so if anyone doesn't have any other questions, I will wrap things up. Please reach out if you do want to dive into anything deeper. And please jump onto the Immune Booster package if you want to get some support that's specific just for you. If you're wanting any of those beautiful bioceuticals products that I mentioned, please jump into In Touch Health Co, where they'll be able to hook you up. And I hope to see you guys again tomorrow. Hey, Kelly. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about what I'm doing. So we've spoken about what I'm eating and what we're eating. Today is all about what we're taking, and tomorrow is about what we're doing in our home to support our bodies and support our immunity. So thank you everyone for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.